Hello! Welcome to our stream for 1.4 and Dawn of Wonder. Today we'll also be dropping a hotfix for 1.4. It will be 1.4.1 and it will contain a few fixes for crashes, and also we will be reducing the infrastructure usage for the construction sectors slightly from 3 down to 2, but we've heard what you said and it was a little bit too high. But, however, this is all about Dawn of Wonder, and today I'm joined by our very, very delightful art director, Carl, and I think I made him smile too much by calling him very delightful.
Yeah, that's the first. Thank you. I'm Carl. I'm the studio art director of PDS and Victoria 3. Not to be confused with Max, the actual art director, just so we're clear on that. Max does the actual physical labor. Yeah, who is Pelly?
Yeah, but who am I? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
let's introduce Pelly. Yes, let's go first. Pelly, who are you?
Oh, me? I'm Pelly. Hello, I'm the community manager for Victoria 3, and you've probably seen me pretty much everywhere, mostly on Discord.
I spend a lot of time on Discord. I never really post, on account of the community maybe not having art as their main subject. I do not make electronic music. I listen to it, but like I said, I am the studio art director, which means I head the art department, and I make sure that everything runs smoothly. So Max, our resident art director for the project Victoria 3, he is the day-to-day art director of what you see, and I am pretty much his boss, and everyone else is there in the art department. Yes, Lucy 1701. I do use electronic devices to make art. I rarely get to make art that actually makes it into the game now. I mostly just talk about it, and then it sort of assimilates down through the art department into the game. Yes.
But that's part of the reason why we're having a stream, so we can show some very nice art and some of the reasons why certain things are made and what sort of inspirations about them. So it's quite fun for us, at least. So
yes. It is rare that I get to talk about what I do. Most of the times, it's sort of art is that subject that is just part of the games that you never really get to showcase. But because this once we have a DLC entirely dedicated just to cosmetics, I get to come out of the lab or the cave and actually talk about it, which is
I took Carl out
delightful.
of his small area and brought him down specially.
Yeah. Yes. It's good to be here.
Yeah. But regardless, we've got some nice things to show. So Dawn of Wonder, for those who are not aware, added in a lovely night and day cycle, or day and night cycle, depending on which way you look at it, seeing as I've seen some people who decided to put their land into eternal night, which is an interesting choice, but I support it fully because it does show off all our really nice nightlife, all like the lights and like the carriages going around. So I can understand it. Also, the sun hurts my skin. I can understand that. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm from Scandinavia. I'm from Sweden, so the sun is literally comes around once a year, and it's a rare occurrence. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, but so obviously we want to kind of show off like little bits of like the paper map and theming and all the other nice little bits and pieces. So first of all, you've got like the nice theme selector directly in the main menu, and you can just go through going click, 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 and adding in all your nice little different bits and pieces, which I actually think my favorite interface is probably the purple one, because I like purple far too much. So we're using that one.
Cool.
But their night cycle.
I would like to say a few things about the theme selector as well, if that's okay.
Whatever you like about it.
This is one of the few things that we worked on that is actually not just art, because it took a fair bit of code to get into this. So when I say that it was an art DLC or cosmetic only, there is a fair amount of code that went into it. But this is one of those things that going forward is going to help us do a lot of things, because it puts the groundwork down for tons of cool things to do with the paper map, with the UI, with the tabletop, all of those things that we would like to explore going forward for various, I mean, you can probably imagine why. It would be a lot of fun to do more things with this whenever we get the time.
Exactly.
So this was one of the few things that were outside of the art department that also made it in, which I'm very, very happy about. Obviously. Okay, thank you. Let's go to the day-night cycle.
On.
Yes.
But no, it's really, really good because this sort of thing is actually, I believe, accessible for modders as well in some aspects.
Yes.
So it's actually really interesting to see what sort of things can come forward from the future from mods. Because, like, for instance, it could be really cool for, say, some modders to change the user interface on the fly.
Yes.
To do interesting things. I don't know what you could use it for, but maybe like in a mod, you could then try and, I don't know, change between, or you've gone from one era to the next or something in like some sort of fantasy mod. That'd be really interesting to see.
Eras, or if your empire suddenly becomes something else, etc. All sorts of things. Or I would be happy to see things tied to, tabletop objects we could happily have tied to achievements or what have you, like EU4 style Golden Age. Bright and Gold, yes, absolutely. Those kind of things.
Will Walking Man be returned? Well, funnily enough, in the 1.5 open beta, which will be dropping sometime tomorrow, it won't be in the initial release for the open beta, but we will be having some aspects of visual units returning during the open beta, which actually look really, really cool. And we showed off some of the concept art for it in the War Improvements Dev Diary, which I believe is 93 off the top of my head. And that's sort of some of the future things that the art department is actually working on, I believe.
Should we go into that already? We barely scratched the surface.
I can say we can go into it and then
a tiny little
through.
bit. Yes.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, here's a great question, Lucy. But one of the reasons that I sit here, the studio art director, and not the art director who does the physical, actual pen on paper, mouse on screen type things, is because all of the artists right now are busy with 1.5 and making walking men and tanks and you get the idea, submarines and the works, the stuff that I cannot tell you about, which is coming. But yeah, so that's obviously why I'm here. Everyone else is busy working. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
Now it's out there already. Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Moving
on.
on to the night cycle before we go off on another tangent leaving us.
Yes. So the day-night cycle. I think probably most people, when they first heard that we were doing a day-night cycle, was thinking of Hearts of Iron 4. And that made us a little bit worried. So the first thing that we wanted to do is make sure that it's something that is aesthetically and visually pleasing. It's not tied to gameplay. If we tied it entirely to the gameplay clock, which can go extremely fast, it would have been, panic-inducing, and you wouldn't actually see it. It would just every other frame go on and off. And so we wanted something that was just aesthetic, partly because it's supposed to enhance the map, and it's also not something that is part of design, right? It's entirely visual, it's entirely cosmetic, and so the whole point from the outset was to make something that beautifies the map. Of course, there are some things like the fact that you can see difference between gas, electricity, etc. Those are added bonuses, but they're not actually part of the gameplay as such. And so, based on that, we felt like we could do a lot of things with how the day-night cycle works. So there are a ton of variables in there. One of them is, like, you can see the simulation speed. There's the sun hours. There's the syncing of local time, if you want to literally have it synced to where you are on the planet, on your planet, where you are, literally. The time of sunrise, etc. I know there's been a ton of questions about what simulation speed means, and it's just a parameter. It goes into the shader and gives it an arbitrary value based on how fast your system is running. So it doesn't actually have anything to do with the sun or anything like that. And I understand that can be a tiny bit hard to understand. So I'm thinking maybe we should try and give that some sort of reference value so that you would know roughly what it is. But what I would say is if you're unsure, just play around with the values and find something that you think is comfortable. Because you can get it very fast and you can go it extremely slow. And because it's mostly visuals, just put it to something that feels good to you.
I think that sums up visuals anyway.
Right?
Select what you
Yeah.
like.
Exactly, yeah. If you don't like it, turn it off.
So, if we pop in.
Oh.
Already, some nice art.
Yeah, AI generated, someone said.
Ooh.
Are we getting it? Yes, perfect. Can we wait an hour, please?
Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, apparently, someone said about the loading, the new loading screen, it's AI generated, which I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. But on that subject, I would like to say that we have, of course, like all companies now, looked at AI generation, and it is not something that we are. It's a hard tool to use for us because it will only do certain things. It does those things really well. But for us, who are looking for very specific things, very targeted results, it is a very blunt tool. And if it replaces something, it's something that doesn't need replacing. And it doesn't help us with the things that we would need help with, that would speed up a process. So I think it's going to be a while before we see generated content in Victoria 3. Thank you for letting me do that sidetrack.
We are bad at sidetracks.
Yes. Yeah, that's my thing, apparently.
Well, we're picking Great Britain simply because I really like a certain thing for the Greenwich Observatory, which I'm trying to maneuver the camera, but forgetting I have terrible controls. So let's import.
Where is it even?
I can't remember.
Greenwich.
It's Greenwich.
Greenwich? Somewhere. Greenwich, southeast.
Ah, there it is. I had my mouse on it.
There it is.
Yeah. Let's do it fast.
And so it should. I'm almost certain that there is a ball that drops. Of course, it doesn't drop at 12 noon for those who are nautically inclined. It just runs an animation. We can't know what time it is. But we thought it was a really nice thing because it has to do with the passing of time and setting the clocks, etc., for the Thames estuary. Same thing with Flamsteed Observatory. Of course, there wouldn't be light inside there. That would ruin any observations of the celestial bodies. But it looks nice. It is here to make it cool. Pretty, make it look nice. Yeah, look cool. What I like about this idea is that you can visualize and you can imagine the pops inside their buildings, eating their meager rations or feasting on whatever sort of birds they would eat. It's just it's a way for you to be immersed in the map.
Yeah.
And that immersion, I think, all that we do when we make the games is that we are trying to make an immersive simulation. And the way I look at it from the art director angle, we have to make the map mirror the depth of those systems that are built in the design. The map has to be a part of that living world, evolving system, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just us doing that for, say, like cities and moving objects like ships or trains. Like, obviously, you've also done that, for, say, for the population, because then the population is something you kind of feel like you should care about in some way. It's like...
Sorry, I see a very important question here.
Yep.
MechBots asks, how did you actually implement the cycle? Is there an actual light source simulating the sun and moon orbiting around? I wish. If we had an orb, if the world was spherical and we had a spherical light shining on that sphere, yes, that would have been amazing. How do you actually care about it? I do, generally. And so I would like to say that the world is flat. Right here and now. It is worse than flat. It is a band, a never-ending band of a flat two-dimensional surface, right? And the sun is also just a linear light that shines on this flat surface. It's not. If it was a cylinder, we would have day and nights on different sides of the map, right? But it's far worse than that. It is literally two-dimensional, and so the sun, this linear light, shines. I'm going to have to use my hands with an angle onto this surface, and as the sun sets, it doesn't have a position, not even a cylinder. Yeah, a plane, a Fläche, the Germans would say, right? And the angle of the sun, I say, because it's a linear light, will just shift, and it will change its color and intensity, and the moon will come up, and they will just keep doing this. So it's all entirely smoke and mirrors in the true Victorian fashion. It's all fake, obviously. Yeah, if it exists, yeah, the sun. That brings us on to the things we shouldn't talk about. There are two suns in the world.
So
to light the buildings in a pretty way. Because we found that with just the one sun, if you zoom into where we have some buildings.
We have some buildings.
It's hard to see at night.
There we go.
Let's see. Let's watch. Another thing that I'll mention later, which has to do with optimization and particles. We'll talk about that later. There are two suns. On account of the buildings, if we only had the one sun, the buildings would only be lit on one side. And in the real world, we have a lot of analog things happening. Light bounces around, it bounces, scatters in the atmosphere, and we have a lot of bounce from the ground, etc. The sky will, spread the light out. We don't have that. With one linear sunlight, it would be very bright on one side and very dark on the other. Space lighting, basically. And so we have an extra bit of sun that lights up the backside of objects. So you actually get a bit more volume to them. You could call it a fill light if you were a photographer. We're not. Yeah, we should have had ray tracing. Yeah. That'll be the day. Yeah, let's not put that on the wish list. Thank you. No. There are other things I would. If we did get support for ray tracing cards, I would not use that card for visuals. That's what I'm saying. We could use that for something else. But but yeah, so that's it with the suns, right? Any technical questions on that?
Well, so far,
I feel like I'm getting off track continuously here.
No, it works. It's just so far you've confirmed that we've got a flat Earth and there's two suns.
Yes, and one moon.
And one moon.
One moon, yeah.
At least we've got one moon.
Yeah.
As a treat.
As for now. Yeah.
We'll add more moons.
We'll see, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Very good comments. The lights, obviously, yeah. The lights in the buildings aren't actually lights. Just to make that clear, they are an emissive texture that sits, and it sits roughly where the windows are, and so you can see that basically what they do is their pixels won't be affected by sunlight or moonlight or anything, and they'll just look like they are shining, which is a classic trick. And I know a lot of people have been worrying that, this is going to get very expensive, to render all of this. It doesn't make any difference. It's just a texture. And the difference with this texture is that it doesn't actually change its pixel values based on its angle to the camera, etc. So, yeah.
Well, something I thought that you might want to bring up is something about sounds that we recently did, wasn't it? Because I'd heard something whilst I was zooming in.
Yes. That's also something that maybe flies a bit under the radar, so to speak. Audio isn't part of the an art pack, right? But everyone, when you see this, you get excited if you're an artist. And so there's a ton of audio work that went into this. And if you listen closely when you play the game, you go to a city and you listen to the ambient noise of a city when the sun comes up, and you can hear that people get up and they start to work. And Yeah, the traffic picks up and you can hear the hustle and bustle, you can hear the industry, etc. And as night falls, you'll hear that they'll start to whisper, and then the traffic will die down and you can hear dogs barking at night. And same thing for farms. Hang on. Can we hear it? Is this the longest day?
It might be. I'll put it back at speed
Yes.
straight. Yeah.
Yes, we get crickets. The French, they'll never stop
I
talking.
never stop talking.
No.
They're so loud here.
Oh.
Oh. There we go.
Now they went to bed. Very good. Oh, church bells.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice. Never heard that before. Yeah, I know. I've heard chirping. I heard cicadas. I hear roosters. Based on where you are, obviously, there's a ton of different.
So if you're close to, like, say,
Yes, if you're over
Farmland.
a farmland or what have you, you'll find different sounds. Which is, again, I know this may seem overkill. This may seem like what is the point of this? It is all part of making a deep simulation of what it is you are creating in this world, right?
Yeah. And it makes you feel a bit more connected.
Yes.
And I just thought we could try.
Pull it up a bit. 12.
Yeah.
maybe.
We'll
That's
go-
really fast.
No, we'll go
Okay,
faster.
fine,
We'll
okay.
go faster. It'll be fine.
A bit seasick almost at that speed. Let's see.
Yeah, it's at speed 3.
It's fine. Right.
But yeah, obviously we showed off the lovely Greenwich
Mm.
here.
Yes.
We have some other ones, I believe.
Mm. I think we picked Greenwich because of we had when we did this. These are not monuments,
No.
as everyone aware. Monuments would make them into gameplay objects, and that would make it into a design thing where you would have stats or impact on gameplay. So we picked a few things that we felt were visually pleasing, had a sort of link to day and night, or the moon and the sun. Obviously, Greenwich and the dateline would be, it's the center of the universe if you want to look at day-night cycles. But also the whole fact that Maskelyne, I believe it's Neville Maskelyne, he wrote all of those tables on the movement of the moon, so you could, before Harrison designed the Marine Watch. There's a lot of things to do with the moon there I thought was very interesting. So we tried to pick a few things that we felt had a strong connection to day-night cycles.
I believe if we go... Oh, actually, no, there's one right here, isn't there?
Yes, some sort of temple.
Whereabouts is it again?
On a hill.
It's on a hill. I always remember it's on the hill. There you are.
Yeah.
I believe that's Poseidon's temple, isn't it?
Yes. Is it Poseidon?
I'd hope it's Poseidon. It's right by the sea.
I hope so, yes. Oh, look at that shadow. Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, funny
Ooh.
story. Here comes another sidetrack. This is why you came, right, to an art stream, if you did. The eagle-eyed observer will notice that the terrain doesn't actually have shadows. As opposed to all the buildings and vehicles and lighthouses. Can we get a lighthouse?
Oh, yes, we can get to that house.
You can tell that we can't see the shadow now.
Of course. Ah,
Oh, there it is.
There we
Here
are.
comes the moon. You can see that it casts a shadow. Beautiful. If you please go back to the temple. But what doesn't cast shadows is the actual terrain. And we experimented a lot with this in when we made the game. And we wanted originally to have the terrain shade itself. So you would have shadow on the shadow side of mountains, etc. But it just turned out that it got very, very, very dark. So if you look around the world now, you'll see that the trees and the houses and everything else, they will have shadows. But the actual mountains, while they are dark on the side that is away from the fake sun, you won't actually have any shadows cast onto objects for aesthetic reasons. So we it's not that we cut corners. It's more like we need it to look good, and so that you can see what is going on, and it needs to look believable. And doing it without shadows was the only way of doing it. However, skipping back to the temple, please. Yeah, there it is. You can clearly see that temple casts a shadow, and the hill it sits on is casting a shadow onto the water there. Because when we put the temple in with its shadow casting, you could clearly see that the shadow was just floating in space onto the water. And so underneath that one lonely hill here, southeast of Athens, is a hill that casts shadows. Oh, look at the god rays there. Very pretty. The moon rays. So yeah, this is the one hill, I believe, in the entire game that actually casts shadows.
Are you sure? I think the Sun Temple might have something. Or was that just from the building itself?
Possibly. Should we go have a look?
Let's have a look. Where are you over there? I remember. Also, I forgot.
Yes.
No, the lovely paper map has them all drawn on, which is really cool.
Yes. As close as we could get, we tried to incorporate them into the map. It's here as well, somewhere on
whereabouts it is. Even though I play here constantly.
Foothills southeast.
Where are you? I know it's around here.
You didn't pay for the...
No, it is here. We did pay for it because we just saw the...
You modded it out.
I modded it out because I specifically didn't want it. But no, I really enjoyed this area. So
this is the best part of the stream. Pele looking for the temple.
Pele looking for
it's
a
further
temple.
south, I think.
I know. It's around here. Where has it gone? And now we'll never find it. As always. Yeah, it's around there somewhere. Honest. It's my favourite one, and I can't find it now.
North of the mountains. It says.
There's many mountains. That doesn't slow it down.
It's not. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's in the foothills, but like the other side. There we are.
Thank you. Very good.
And it's got like god rays. It always feels like. I love those.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah, well, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, it
just looks nice.
Yeah.
Right. And it also glows at night as well.
There's something on there. Something.
There's something going on there.
Yeah. People camping out, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Could be a rave.
It could be a rave.
Yeah.
I can't hear it, but yeah. Maybe patch that in. 1850s rave.
1850s rave.
What else have we got?
Can't remember off the top of my head, but we've also got like the Geminis and all the other nice drawings.
These are obviously to do with zodiac and the stars and the heavens.
Oh,
most of these are based on team members, also as a small nod.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder which ones the three crabs are. If I can find them quickly.
I cannot say who the crabs represent.
There they are.
I think it's a GDPR thing.
Okay.
I can't name names, right? But I guess I can get the crabs to out themselves maybe on the next stream. Maybe. But there are a ton of things to discover here, which are whimsical.
Yes.
A lot of the map design also ties into the design, the design of the UI. Maybe we should talk about that.
Yes.
A little bit. The UI and the UI and the map ornaments and the table in itself.
If I swap over to everything being on the same.
Mario Kant says is something in India. No, there is the it escapes me now. The name, help me.
Taj Mahal.
Not the Taj Mahal. Well, there is a Taj Mahal.
Is there?
Absolutely, yes. But that's always been there, I believe. No?
I don't remember now.
Further north.
Further north. Whereabouts?
But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the UI and the yeah. So we wanted to get something a bit more the day and night Psycho has connotations with a lot of it. We wanted to have something slightly less strict and slightly less Victorian. We wanted to try something that goes outside of the realm a bit, and so we landed on something slightly whimsical and a bit almost fairy tale like, folklorish. If you've ever seen the art of at the time, the contemporary Russian artist Ivan Bilibin, who illustrated many children's stories, 1880s, I believe.
I think so.
That's where we drew most of the inspiration, and you probably see that, and the group that he was part of, the style is very reminiscent of that. That's where we started out, and we built it from there, color-wise, texture-wise, illustration-wise. I really like this. I think this is a good complement to the other ones. I do want to say that I lobbied very hard for getting in night mode because it would be funny, but this is dark enough, I think, and But yeah, it would have been funny to have a night map as well, completely very, very, very dark. But we'll see about that later. What else is there to say? That's it, pretty much, for the UI. We have, like I said earlier, with the theme system, I'm super happy how that turned out, because it means that we and you can make new skins. Relatively, Waterrune, yes, is the new one. Thank you.
Yes, you're right. Thank you.
Straight in.
Ooh.
Left.
Right.
Left.
Oh, left.
Up.
That's Cambodia there. Oh, we gone.
Oh,
hello.
Hello. That's weird.
Oh, that's Dynam. I was looking at.
Northwest.
Oh my.
To the right.
To the right. There.
No.
No.
No, that's the. Go down again. It's on the coast. It's right there.
There's multiple coasts.
There. Go to Bangkok.
Whoop.
And now zoom.
I've zoomed.
And up. There you go.
Ah,
there it is.
There's another one.
Yes. Very good. Thanks, Billy.
I know.
And,
I know
the
where
lights
it
come on. Did we also change the river going through Bangkok, right? Yes. I think we had to, because it was not actually going properly. And I know it's supposed to.
Few map changes.
It's supposed to bisect Bangkok, but the scale of things are not the same as in the world, So it is what it is. But yeah, Waterrune. Is there one more? Those are the four things, right? Yes. Yeah, so Bilibin and the UI. Let's talk a little bit also about the table assets, I think. I know a lot of people maybe don't zoom out this far, and so it's may feel like maybe you're not getting... I really like this. It creates an ambience, an atmosphere, and it gives you a sense of where you are. What's also very nice, again, is that you can, if you like one particular thing, that stays with you. With the coins, someone mentioned, we'll just keep doing that. Whenever we add a major expansion, you'll get another coin, on your cloth, and so we'll keep track of that. It does track your DLC. I think it's probably going to track major expansions rather than just DLC as well.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm not sure at this point. It's something that we added in just now, obviously. But yeah, so there's the Little Celestial. It's the book on the movements of the universe. The table assets can be linked to triggers. As far as I'm aware, they are all interchangeable on the fly. So yes, if you did have an achievement or something happened, you can add stuff, medals or absolutely. We don't have that many slots now because we started with what we had at release and basically started to yes, the Communist Manifesto, of course. I know that we've had some feedback on the Taino statue here. And the effects, you can see the black smoke there. And he feels a bit like, why is it smoking? And we hear you. We're going to change that. It does smoke way too often. We originally wanted that smoke to happen very rarely, so that when it did happen and you were unaware of it, it would be a bit funny, a bit ominous. But that at some point along the way, it became very, very, very way too much smoke. And so we're going to cut down on smoke. Can I say this? Yeah. And so that's happening, definitely. It's going to get patched. No worries. Can we have a look at the candle? That's my favorite, actually.
The candle, yes.
Tilt the camera a tiny bit. The other way, so you can almost see it. Yeah, you can spin the camera around. Can you see that it's actually a classic smoke and mirrors? It's just a particle, a vertically lined particle, a flat piece of graphic, and then a flip book. And that makes it look animated. It's quite a basic trick. And the rest of the candle, obviously, it's not giving off any light. It's just a very talented environment artists have baked the light onto the texture so that it looks like it's shining through and has subsurface scattering, etc. I think it works quite well. Originally, of course, with the light, I envisioned one of those things. Yeah, the candle burns, and there's a little stick in it. When it burns down, it goes ding, like the way that you would keep track of time before you had electricity or gas, as a way, a nod to that time. But there's only so much that we can do, and we are also, we have more pressing matters to work on. So, for now, this is what you'll get. But yeah, candle burning down would have been great, but we also know what the priorities are, right? So, but yeah, what these things do is that they also give us a chance for the artists to express themselves a bit and push further into things that we normally wouldn't do. And I do think that this actually, it does give the game more quality. We can't just look at the bare bones. A sundial would not work, clearly. We do not have... Who said that? Yeah. How would that work? The sun does not move in an orbit, or rather, we do not spin around an axis. But yeah, we can fake it, if that helps. We can do a fake sundial, yeah. We are not going to show the new things at the battles.
No, that would be... You'll be able to get your hands on it tomorrow yourself.
Yes.
I will give that a big old caveat, saying that it is an open beta and the first version will be quite experimental, so don't go in expecting it to be the most polished and balanced thing. In fact, we even have a built-in piece of UI on the main menu which says that and also links directly into our feedback channels on Discord when they'll be live, so that you can actually instantly link yourself over to giving feedback. And that's what we're looking for in the first open beta, is feedback directly on the actual how you're doing it, rather than, hey, this part doesn't look exactly right. Well, we're already working on UI and UX stuff for this, so there's not much we're looking forward for in that aspect, really. But yes, that's 1.5. That's tomorrow. This is 1.4.
Yes. Someone asked, can you get the pocket watch to sync up with local time? I would have loved to do that.
Oh, that would have been
But
fun.
again, it's static for now. Adding animation objects is one of those things that we are very much in favor of, adding more things. Not just here, but on the map, everywhere. I would like the world to be more living and alive. But all of those things come at a cost,
yes,
much higher cost than we are willing to pay at the moment, and so we are focusing on 1.5, the things that matter, the things that actually are linked to design and gameplay.
Something I just noticed now is actually you can read the writing on the pocket watch, which I had never zoomed in far enough to see.
I believe it's the first American-produced pocket watch. They're not in business anymore. They can't. You can't sue us for that. It's a generic pocket watch.
But otherwise, you've got this like band of
Billy Bean inspired night, dusk to dawn sort of
that is
cloth.
a lovely texture.
Yeah, it's cloth, and there's these little stars and moons built into it.
This might just be me, but they look almost like they could be edible.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat those. No, I think they're brass.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can eat them, but yeah.
There we go.
I don't go too close. It
And
disappear.
it's a dog.
Yeah. Dog, lighthouse. What else?
What should we find? Bats? I think
No
there's-
idea.
There's bats.
Bats.
That's a moon.
Yep.
Candle. We've
Candle.
already got a big candle up there. Goat.
Goat. Star.
A very cool looking crow with a
Cockerel.
crown.
Cockerel.
it
type
cockerel?
thing. Maybe it's a phoenix. I don't know. It's reading a book.
It's reading a book.
I wish we had one of the 2D artists here who could
Yeah.
explain themselves.
Explain
I'll go down and
themselves.
ask what happened here. Sometimes things sneak through, like the west-east debacle of 1.0. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not there.
It's not there anymore. Or the
yes.
scale.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Just we are. Yes, that's not happening yet. Don't look at it. Maybe
We
it's
won't look
still-
at it.
No.
It's hidden by the UI. It's all fine. Oh dear me.
Yes.
Yes. We just spent most of the time just bouncing around the world in different tangents.
Do we have any more questions? When will we get 1.5? Yeah.
1.5 will be in open beta for quite a while, and we will let you know when it has a full release.
Oh, hey. OPB asks what city models would the team like to work on in the near future. The French city models are amazing. I agree. All of them we would like to work on. I can't say right away which ones first, but we would like to work on all of them. I would like to go over every great power and every culture and make sure that they are remade fully. One thing in all game development is that you, at some point, you are forced to cut corners. And a lot of the buildings are not as high quality as I would have wanted them to be. I'm still very proud of what we achieved in the time we did it. But I think that the French buildings that we created specifically from scratch, in-house, are much higher quality. And that shows also when we then start to work with them, for instance, with the day-night cycle, we can get much higher quality. And it's a lot more fun. And so I would love for us to do that for all cultures. And and rest assured, it is going to happen at some point. It's more that if I were to sit here and promise you a particular thing, those may be linked to design. And what I also don't want to do is that we find out that certain building sets are locked behind paywalls. I would like for the cultural stuff to actually be open and free. I say I would like that, and I think that's probably how we're going to do it going forward. But yes, skyscrapers is another thing that I would love to see.
Will the upcoming unit models reflect culture or change colors depending on country? Ooh.
Is that 1.5 question again?
That is a 1.5 question.
Can you
again.
Can you ask us that tomorrow?
Yeah, you can ask us that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I'll be happy to tell you.
But I think there's a actual 1.4 one. May I throw you my question from earlier again regarding features you as artists would like from progress that would, I can't see that because there's a monitor in the way, say yes to.
Or they would, I mean, I would love to have terrain that can be destroyed, literally, physically, change the height map. That's never gonna, well, I never say never.
Yeah, never say never, but you can't promise everything.
Yeah. No, but that's something that I think would be very, very interesting. If we could terraform for canals, for excavating, etc., etc. Right. But the way that our system is built, if you've played any Paradox games in the past, please, we have to do quite a lot of smoke and mirrors to get things like that to work. That's a great question. The RLC, there are ways around how to remove and add lakes, but they are all fidgety and finicky, and it does not look good enough in my book. So we're still working on those things. Low-hanging fruit. What you mean from art? I don't know. For the programmers, for our side, optimization for art. If we had unlimited time, which we don't, obviously, time is limited and it's very linear. Clock's ticking right now. I think that we could make much better results and much better quality on buildings and character art if we could just polish it up and make it better, make it in-house faster. Yes. Also, things like the particle system could be optimized. We could probably shave a lot of. We already did a lot of work with the particle system, how we spawn systems, and from the engine side to make the game run faster and more optimized. You may not believe it, but it's happened. It's just that gets eaten up by design.
Because some of that came in for 1.4.
Yeah. Yes.
And we've done a little bit more, I believe, also for 1.4.1. So it does happen. It's just obviously there's trade-offs between, hey, we've got this really nice looking thing, but if you make it the best absolute thing you could do, then design will start crying at you.
They won't, there's a give and take there. But yeah, I think for our part, it's mostly, I have no problem envisioning how we make the game more beautiful and more immersive. That's never going to be a problem. The problem is not having ideas. The problem for us is always, can we have more time, and can we optimize things better? Can the engine be made to do these things in a faster, more efficient way?
Oh, that's a long question. Wow. Will you overhaul how cultures look? I believe we've not mentioned anything about that. But we have about, like, say, cultural building, saying it would be nice.
These are great.
Much. It's a good question.
This is Inspector Beyond's. Yes.
Yeah.
Will you overhaul? This is not a question for art.
Yeah.
I would like to say, it's not something that I can change, because those things are tied to design, and that is not to say that they are responsible either, but we are continuously overhauling assets for different cultures. I believe there were some Southeast Asian assets came in recently. We have a fair few assets on the way out, as in clothing, outfits. And yes, I would like us to keep doing that. But a lot of what character cultures look like is built into design. And so it's a larger question than just like, can you make the art pretty? I'm sorry if that's not the answer. I certainly, it's not the answer I would like to give. I would have loved to say yes, but it's a slightly more bigger, complex question than just us making new clothing.
Yes. I see there's another question further up, which is about war system changes. Check back tomorrow is essentially my answer.
Yes, yes, same time.
We're not promising another stream.
No, I can only do one a year.
There will be a changelog and various other bits and pieces coming out about it, and we will try to keep people informed as possible throughout the whole open beta process about how exactly things are going on there. And I saw something for art, though. All right, when do we get female military leader outfits?
I don't know. I don't want to say.
Yeah, you don't want to say. Careful answering.
Hey, on that topic, so Constantinople being made of adobe is also not your thing. Our thing is making buildings. We make building packs. If we were to say we will now spend time making, redesigning Istanbul, Constantinople, then we could go and make unique buildings for that. Yes. But again, this is not controlled or run by art as such. So it's a bigger question than just me thinking this would be pretty. Yes. We are aware that this is a thing that many people would like. But again, yeah. Could we ever expect a clothing pack? Either as part of an updated future art pack, which just adds a bunch of new possible outfits. We could, of course, we can expect that. I don't know. It's another thing that art has any control over whether that happens or not. That sounds like a business decision. But we are certainly going to make a ton of clothing and outfits, absolutely, because that's something that we really enjoy. And I think that's something that we lack. The more, the merrier, obviously. It's something that, just as with buildings, correct buildings for Constantinople, and the right type of grain in the fields, of course people, various pops, should have the correct outfits. Absolutely 100%. There's no doubt. But when it happens and how it happens and in what form, that's outside of my scope, unfortunately. Ask Pelly.
Carl just throwing that at me. Essentially, for like any of these questions about this would be really nice to have on this content for this area, for this place, for this specific time frame. I've passed on a absolutely huge amount of feedback about pretty much every place on the planet. And every person thinks about their own certain place and what sort of things they'd like. So I passed it on. Beyond that, it's not up to art or community for whatever happens. Is it cool that some things could be coming? I think that some cool things could come about, but I don't know what is the answer. It's a very non-committal answer. I'm sorry.
The 7-year-old isn't wearing full booster suit. We have a problem with children. No doubt that children are problematic in the game. And it's something that haunts me at night. But it's not on top of my list of priorities, let me say that. Is there a railway DLC planned? I don't know.
We've been very careful to not mention anything about trains around Mike, because otherwise you get
lists of hundreds of things.
Lists of tons of trains.
I mean, if I were to speak freely, if no one stops me now, pulls the plug, I would say I would love to do a ton of railway stuff, just because I would like to see
what on earth Mike comes up with.
Yeah, the classics for different cultures. That French locomotive, what's it called, and the American one, and all of those things would be lovely. Of course, it's gonna have to happen. It's just how and when.
This isn't confirmation, by the way. It's just like, this is really, really cool, and we really like trains.
Yes, yeah. None of this is confirmation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have to just like reel in a little bit. Like, no, we're not confirming anything.
No.
It's just we like.
No,
trains.
there's no DLC planned. I can say there's no DLC planned with railways in the future. I would love to see more trains. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I adore the trains, especially when they're going around at night. They look so good.
Yeah, I really like that. The fact. What funny thing is, you can see that there's like a little light coming out in front. There's a little cone. Just I don't know if you noticed. If you zoom out, it's going to disappear. And it won't respawn until you go back in again, because we hear you guys about performance as well. We want to make sure that it doesn't get too expensive. So we do think about these things.
What were some other candidates for the themes of this art pack? Enjoy the day-night theme a lot too, but I'm curious if there are any contenders which we may see in the future. That's a very leading question.
I'm not allowed to say. There's this principle. I can't remember the original Latin phrase now, but there's no love for the unknown. If I were to tell you, everyone would be like, "Ooh, why didn't we get that?" So it's best if I don't say anything, because it just gets frustrating, right?
Our cities become bigger and advancing them. Yes. Yep. Everything when built gets little bits and pieces. Like say, you get hubs building up, so you can have mining that pop up in the map, etc. So yeah, it does get up.
They do grow.
Yeah,
tab key still works, yes. Right?
Yes. You go whoop.
That was tab key. Are we...
I think, though, that
Are
we
we,
are about done, because I can't think of anything else we want to share other than
Any
tomorrow
more?
we've
Yeah.
got the 1.5 open beta. As I've said a few times throughout, we'll share as much information as we can throughout that, and we'll keep you updated. And otherwise, thank you for joining us for our very lovely art stream and chat and ramble, knowing
ramble.
us.
That's what I do. I ramble. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Oh, hello.
Yeah, perfect. Restart now. Thank you.
Thank you. That's pretty much what we can say. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
We've had a very enjoyable time, and it was mostly rambling.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, and we will give you as much information as we can. And I hope you have a very good rest of your day, as I'm sure we will in
Yes.
some way.
Yes. Thank you.